Hello everyone, and welcome to the 19th day of Advent here on my channel. And today is going to be a somewhat fiery episode. You'll see. Well, let me start by showing you these. And I've had these for a while, and they come in these packages, and they're cheap from a local store. And I like them, and I've always wanted to use them in miniature scenes, but they're a little bit bulky, especially the top is rather big, and I always thought of cutting them down, but you know, I never got around to it, and it's a little bit difficult. You need special tools and all that, but today I am going to do that. So let me get some of those bottles empty, and I also have slightly smaller ones. They also came, I think there was glitter in there at one stage, and I only have 3, unfortunately, because these are really nice for miniatures, size-wise. But I only have 3 of those, and I don't think I can get those anymore with the glitter in them. But today I'm going to work with the big ones. And I forgot to mention this, but these are glass bottles. So in order to cut glass, you'll need a special tool. And I've got my Dremel here, and I've got a diamond bit cutter in there. And that's what I'm going to use to cut the glass. Now, when you're cutting glass or doing anything with glass, you do need to wear protection. So I'm wearing my ear protector, my ear defenders, I'm wearing gloves, but I'm also going to wear special eyeglasses and a dust mask, because if you don't want to breathe in the particles that, the glass particles. So I'll probably sound a little bit muffled. There. And I've also got a little bit of leather for holding the glass, because it can get really hot when you're doing this. So, turn that on. Now here I decided to turn down the sound of the video because it was so noisy you couldn't hear me speak. But I would like to tell you a few things about cutting glass like this. Now, first of all, like I said, wear the right protective gear. As you can imagine, bits of glass can break off and hurt you. And also, you don't want to breathe in the glass dust, as it's very unhealthy. Then, make sure you can hold your glass object steady when you're cutting it. And this can be quite difficult, especially when you're wearing gloves. And I'm using a bit of leather to hold the glass, because the glass can get quite hot when you're cutting it. And this is cheap glass, and it may not have the same thickness all over, and it can break when you work with it. And this happened in the first cut I made. But I could still use the rest of the bottle, so I made a new cut further down. With the flat side of the diamond cutter, you can sort of sand down the edges and try to get it straight, which was, again, very difficult. But you can sand it with normal sandpaper or fine sandpaper. It takes a bit of work, but it does work. I've done it before, and it's not special sandpaper, it's just regular sandpaper. And again, here too, the most difficult bit is trying to hold it. So I've taken off my gloves, because by this time it's not hot, or doesn't have any sharp edges, so that's fine. Here I cut off the bottoms of 3 of the smaller bottles, and although 2 of them did have stress cracks, I did try to save them, and I decided to sand them on my disc sander. And for that I stuck them down onto a bit of double-sided tape on a bit of wood, and that way I could easily hold them against the disc of the disc sander, and that worked perfectly. It was just a shame that 2 of them were cracked before I started, but yeah, I still managed to sand them. And of course, again, wear a dust mask here because there's a lot of glass dust coming off here. Very unhealthy. And the sandpaper on my disc sander was old, it needed replacing, so it didn't matter if I sanded glass on it. I have to replace it anyway. Now these last 2, they are both cracked, and they were cracked from the moment I cut them, but they have held up during the sanding. So I hope that in the next step they won't break in 2 or 3 or 4. Now, the next step I think is the most fun because it involves fire. Here I've got my burner, my Proxon burner, and I'm going to, you see the edges of that glass, they're not shiny anymore because I sanded it, and I want to get that shiny again. Now, glass is different from, for instance, metal. When you heat metal, when you've reached melting point, it will just melt like that instantly. And glass is different. Glass melts from solid, well, it's never a solid technically, but it will melt to a liquid state in stages. So as long as you don't go to the final stage, it's fine, and it will keep its shape even though it gets hot. And I'm going to try and do a I think it's called fire glazing, but or just stay before that. But you'll see. I'll heat it up. Start with that one. What I thought was interesting here was that where the glass was cracked, it heated up much quicker. And you can see the crack glow there. And it melted away a little bit. And this was harder to see with the naked eye than on the video. Now, this is really, really hot, so don't touch it. And don't be tempted to pour water on it like you do with metal. You can douse it into water. You cannot do that with glass because it will crack. But so you have to let it cool by itself. And of course, I'm using a fireproof base below this. You cannot do this on your workbench. You'll need something fireproof to do this on. But I think it worked. Well, there was a lot of breakage. And that just, a few bottles will go fine, and then all of a sudden, one after the other will break. And I did not cut the necks of these yet, so I can still use some of them. But here are the pieces I did manage to make. And now I'm going to fire glaze these as well. And I hope none of them break. Yeah, that one broke. Okay. That one broke, which is a real shame because I really like that one. Yeah, some of them just, I'm not going to do those. I'm afraid they'll break, and I like them. So I'll just continue with these thicker pieces, and hopefully they won't break. Well, they've now cooled, and I did put the torch on these for a little while from the side, and they are okay. And this one, I heard the crack go right in the beginning, and so it has a stress fracture there. And it also slumped a little bit. Look. So either, and I could tell that this glass and that glass and this one as well, the heat affected it quicker than the other ones. So maybe it's different type of glass, which is possible because there are different types of glass which will react different to heat. And but the rest is fine, and I'm happy with them. I wish I just had more of those, because I'll show you what the idea was. I'll take them to my bench and show you. Here they are. They're still dirty. I still have to wash them because they're still covered with dust. But the idea was to have them as little candle stands for my candles. This one doesn't fit in there because that one has, I love that. And the other ones, they're slightly big, but I wanted to put the tea lights in there like that. I know they don't have a bottom, but you can't see that, can you? Oh, that one's too big. So it was these smaller ones that I liked for the tea lights. That one in there. And the bigger ones were supposed to be for the bigger candles. Now I only have 2 left. That one isn't great. But yeah, I know this is not for everyone. It's not, well, it's not so much hard, but it can be a little bit scary. And you have to be, like I said, you have to wear protection because you don't want glass in your hands or in your eyes or in your lungs. So I love doing this kind of stuff, especially with the fire. And yeah, was it a success? I don't know. Partially. I didn't expect that much breakage, but I do like, especially I like that one, and I like those small ones. So the hunt is on for more small bottles or other glass items that I can modify. And if you really don't want to work with glass, you can of course always use these. I'll I'll just put them over here for now. Yep. They're lovely. I do like them. Until next time.